Hey everybody, today's vlog day 858. I lied last week. They don't have guns in France. They didn't let me have guns in France. Good morning. It's Wednesday and we have sunshine again, which is fantastic. At long last for, maybe a day. Anyways, it's visa getting time, and I thought that today I would talk a little bit about my, limited but somewhat random, if not extensive, still limited experience getting visas. It's visa getting day, hopefully. Hopefully it's all over today. And I thought today I would talk a little bit about my experience getting visas in different parts of the world, because it is different everywhere you go, and yet somehow always the same. I'm in the photo booth here because it's the only thing I need is photos still. Not only have they doubled the price from €5, but this thing only accepts €5 bills or coins. And guess who has no €5 bills or not enough coins? Me. It was so close. Photos are the only thing I need. And dramatic noise. Whew. Am I ready for my photo now? Yeah, looks pretty ready.
Si cette photo vous satisfait, appuyez sur le bouton vert.
Nothing about that photo satisfies. I definitely should have shaved before I did this. Whoever said arts and crafts would never come in handy in real life, I don't think anybody's ever actually questioned that. Just as a recap, basically what happened yesterday was that I filled out the application online, printed out that application form, came in, then she told me I was missing 2 forms. There were 2 sheets that needed to be filled out that I never saw online, and I went back and tried to find them and couldn't find them online, so I don't know what to say. They're probably online, they're probably somewhere, I just couldn't find them. So I got pictures of them here, then photoshopped those into regular documents back at my house. Photoshop is a very useful skill for things like this. Printed them out, filled them out, and then brought them in with me. Looks like everything's good, except of course the photomaton only takes change and €5 notes. Thankfully they have a change machine, got that sorted, and now I'm waiting. That's it. So now I wait to be seen, I turn it in. I don't know if I turn my passport in with it or not, probably do. They put the visa in it and then I come back and pick up my passport. That's kind of how it works. They have to actually physically put it in the passport, right? So I'll tell more stories about other ones. I've had much shadier visa experiences. This is fine. It's just a little bit disorganized. That's okay, we'll get through this and then on to the next, hopefully food and coffee. I had a little bit of coffee left over from yesterday, but I don't think that's gonna cut it. And in the end, after all of that, it doesn't work because they have to hold my passport for 6 days. At a minimum, she said. And believe it or not, can't do that for reasons that still have to remain sort of secret. I'll have to come back and do it when I get back. So, at least I'm ready. At least I know I have everything. Everything's done properly. I've glued my face to the application twice. Once where it said it needed to go, and once where it didn't say, and they just have to tell you that. You do basically have to come in here and get walked through the process because it's not clear at all. Anyways, I'll be back in a bit. So a lot of visits to the Indian consulate. Let's go find Renna. I forgot to mention Renna's in town, and I haven't seen her in forever, and I'm only gonna get to see her for a little bit, so hopefully we can find her. And of course, Renna's not answering her phone, so it might end up being a Renna-free day, which would be really sad. But then we'll go to Pan Am this afternoon with Sam and Rachel and Laura, because Sam and Rachel are in town for Thanksgiving, which is exciting. I'm responsible for the mashed potatoes tomorrow, and I'm not really sure how I'm going to do that without mashing utensils. Anyways, visas. Visas are kind of a different thing depending on where you're from and where you're going, obviously. So this is purely from an American perspective, and I realize that as an American, I actually am very privileged on the visa front. There are a lot of countries I can just go to for like 30 or 90 days, not worry about it. Just show up, put a stamp in my passport, that's my visa, I'm there, I leave, all good. But there are a lot of countries that you're gonna go to that aren't quite that easy. Like India, for example. I gotta go actually apply for a physical visa that they'll put in my passport. One of my favorite visa stories is actually when we were going into Benin from Togo, where we just rode our motorcycles to the border, had to park them, walk inside, go from kind of like office to office, immigration and customs. They actually put a sticker in the passport, like the visa is a sticker, and then filled it out with a pen, so it wasn't printed. They just actually filled it out with a pen and then stamped it and sent us on our way. That was a good one. And actually fairly easy. Getting into Benin was not a cakewalk, but yeah, pretty much a cakewalk. The Togo visa that we already have. Anyway, a nice lady warning me about pickpockets. I explained that I do this every day, and she kind of got it, but you know, not really. Anyways, Togo, another privileged situation was when I was living in West Africa. With Mercy Ships, we got visa waivers. So basically we just needed our Mercy Ships identity and we were fine. But going into bordering countries like Benin, you did have to get a visa. There was one going into Ghana, did not go well. Like the Ghanaian border is much more intense. And thankfully there was no, like we never paid bribes to get anywhere, which often ends up happening traveling in different countries. And that's just because we had a policy not to, and we had the weight of Mercy Ships behind us. So that makes it a lot more privileged as well. Getting into Ghana, oh man, that was a nightmare because we were trying to go with our motorcycles and we listened to a friend of ours who'd already given us bad advice once before on traveling with our motorcycles, and it turned out his advice was bad again. Oh man, coffee's good, but I need lunch. Anyways, hopefully I didn't get you too excited to see Rena because I don't know if I'm gonna see her. One way or another, I'll see her. Anyways, when we were going to Ghana, it's complicated, but basically two things happened. One, well, the visa process isn't so bad getting into Ghana, and actually the Ghanaians are fairly well organized. Their border was much better run, and there's always like a little bit of like the edginess because some of them are used to collecting bribes, and we're not gonna give bribes, so you kind of have to navigate that, which you get used to over time and it becomes less awkward, but I just remember that being a little bit uncomfortable. The other thing though was that unlike Benin, Ghana had very strict rules about bringing vehicles into the country. You had to have registration and insurance and a whole bunch of stuff that we didn't actually have. The insurance is the main thing we didn't have. So I ended up hiring a guy to go buy us the insurance because we didn't find out about this until we were already in no man's land. And once you're in no man's land, you go back into Togo, but it basically annulled our one entry visas. So we only had entry once and we'd already used that up. So we were stuck in no man's land. We had to hire a guy to go try and buy temporary insurance for us just so we'd have the paperwork to get through. We gave him the money. He went. He took forever, a couple of hours that we're stuck waiting for him. And by the time he came back, he had bought the wrong time period of insurance for only one of us. He basically, yeah, he screwed us. And then we're stuck there thinking like we only have a few more hours of daylight. We need to get on the road. Eventually we just left our motorcycles at the border, which is not that sketchy because there are motorcycles everywhere. Nobody's gonna take them. We just left them and hopped in a taxi and kept going. So all that to say, things can get complicated and be more complicated than expected, and usually are. And it is very country specific. Some countries are really good about their visas, are very well organized, and I just haven't gotten to experience that too often. Like the Scandinavian countries, I have some friends that were living in Finland. They were able to do everything online, submit all their documentation online, and then just go pick up their visas to live there. Oh man, what a dream. I wish I could do that here. France? Nope, never gonna happen. Obviously getting my visa to move here was the worst thing ever, but that is different because even though things were disorganized and it took over a year, it really doesn't even have to do with the disorganization or being bounced around so much or being insulted or torn down was pretty bad, but the reason that it was all made worse and the reason that it is one of the worst experiences ever is because your future hangs in the balance. When you're just going on a trip, if you're going on vacation, if you're just going across the border for a minute, things don't go well. That sucks. But if you're going for a work visa, a visa to live, a visa to move somewhere long term, the stakes are way higher. And so every time you go in for one of these meetings, like right now it's kind of an annoyance. Going back in multiple times to the consulate, it'll work out. And at worst, if for whatever reason I don't get my visa in time, then I miss out on a trip that would suck. But I lose like a chunk of change and miss out on a trip, but it's not the end of the world. Whereas if like I'd been here, I'd relocated, I'd gotten my whole life started again, was putting everything back together, and then after a year of struggling with that, they denied me. That's life-changing. I don't even know what I would do from that point. So there's a difference between countries, there's a difference between purposes, there's a difference between the results, and like what really comes down to is that even the most efficient system in the world can be awful if the stakes are high and you're not certain whether or not you're gonna get what you're looking for. I think that's kind of more the point. get motion sick. Rena, I don't know if you can hear me over this advertisement. Rena had passport problems, had to go home, like straight home. Sad, sucks. We'll see her again soon though, hopefully. Anyways, you're gonna watch Fantastic Beasts, Crimes of Grindelwald. I will see you tomorrow morning, whatever the heck comes with Thursday. Happy Thanksgiving.